Americans spend 90% of their time inside, where the pollutants are 2 to 5 times more than outside. What? I'm Catherine Wells, Chief Inspiration Officer for Mavericks of Senior Living. And today, Francis is not going to be able to join us, but we have some incredible people with us who are going to be talking about how we can solve that problem, what they're doing about it, as well as some other really fun things related to art. So stick with us after a word from our sponsors.
This incredible show made possible by our wonderful sponsors: Assured Senior Living, love, it's what we do, and Serenity Engage, where care connects. Now, a brief message from Serenity Engage. Serenity connects aging service providers, older adults, and their loved ones in a single network. Our web, mobile, and smart assistance products power the network that enables real-time, HIPAA-compliant communication, collaboration, and education. When we care together, providers increase revenue and lower expenses, older adults receive better care, and family has greater peace of mind.
Welcome back. I am so excited to have Michelle Olson with us. And Michelle, I can't even say all the letters after your name, so I will let you introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be back here with you, Catherine. So my name's Michelle, and the not-for-profit that I started during the pandemic is called Evergreen Minds. And I'm a gerontologist and a creative arts therapist and a certified forest therapy guide. And so Evergreen Minds combines all those things that I love. And what we do is we connect people who are living with dementia with other people, right, of all ages, all abilities, through nature and expressive arts.
And isn't it, I mean, I was reading your website, and that's where I got those statistics. 90% of our time we spend indoors.
Yeah, we do. We have forgotten that we have spent a millennia, right, immersed in nature, a part of nature. And so now we're on our computers and we wear shoes that disconnect us from the earth. And, in our busy technological lives, we forget that we are a part of it all. And so it's really a passion of mine, is to help people remember that they're a part of nature, not separate from it.
It's just fascinating to think that that's how much time we spend inside, and all of the pollutants, of course, that are inside and their impact. And you talked about the art aspect of this. So I'm going to bring on Meg Laporte from Art Against Ageism. And Meg, can you share your background?
Sure. So I've been I've been doing reporting, writing, communications, PR, and marketing in the senior living field for about 22 years. And I'm co-founder of an organization called Art Against Ageism.
And what is that? Say more about it.
Yeah, Art Against Ageism is a nonprofit organization that identifies, amplifies, and creates art that tackles and confronts damaging stereotypes about age and aging.
Love it. And how do you and Michelle know each other?
So that's a good question. Somehow our paths have crossed somewhere. And was it at Pioneer that we first met in person?
No, we met much like me and you, Catherine. We met on LinkedIn, and because I'm an artist and an art therapist, and so one of our root principles at Evergreen Minds is eradicating ageism and ableism, right? That's one of the main things that we work on. And so her work at Art Against Ageism really struck a chord with me, and I reached out, I think, and I was like, we need to do something. We need to do something together. I don't know what. And then we came up with this beautiful project that we did in Denver last summer at the Pioneer Network. And it kind of evolved from there. So now we're working on other things together.
It's so great. And that is one of the nice things about technology, is that we can connect with each other and connect across the continent even. I would love across the globe is what I meant to say. And Michelle, I'd love to hear about forest bathing. Can you tell our audience about that, what it is, why is this important, and how does it connect with everything that you're doing here, including art?
Yeah. And what does that have to do with dementia care? So,
right.
In fact, it is one of the things that we do. We guide forest therapy walks or forest bathing walks. We partner with other organizations like Alzheimer's Association and others in our community. And what forest bathing is a very slow, it's not a hike, it's a very slow, immersive walk or roll in and with nature. It's tuning into all of our senses, getting out of that busy brain of ours, right? That very busy mind, and tuning into our bodies. And what are we noticing in this moment? And it's just a very beautiful practice. It's not always easy, I'm the first to say, because at first, right, when we're used to going at a very fast pace, and you have a guide that's inviting you, not telling you, but inviting you to slow down and tune in to certain senses, it can be difficult, right? Because we want to get to the end of the hike, right? We want to see the view of the mountaintop, right? But it's not about that. It's a very short distance. Forest bathing is a wellness practice. And I like to say it's a bodyful practice. So not just mindful, but getting out of the mind and into the body.
That's beautiful. So it's a short distance, so it's doable for people.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about you can walk, you can roll for those people who are either in wheelchairs or using walkers. And it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So how do you do that along the way? How do you keep people really focused on the journey?
Right. Well, the thing is, it's not really up to me, right? So it's really each person's experience. And the forest, by the way, it doesn't have to just be in a forest. The forest is where we get the most benefits, right? Because the trees and the plants emit these beautiful volatile chemicals, these compounds that we breathe in that help heal our body. And I can go on for another 10 minutes about that, but just know that when we are breathing in those chemicals, we work in reciprocity with the trees, right? And so that's a part of it. So when participants, if they're really up in their head and they have a hard time, I just trust that the land, that the forest is going to provide what they need in that moment. So it's each person's experience is unique, and I'm there to just guide that experience and invite them to participate in invitations. We call them invitations in whatever way that's right for them. So there's no right and no wrong, much like in art therapy.
So, and there's science behind this, right? You talked about the reciprocity with the trees, which is such an interesting concept. We don't think about that. Even if we hike, we don't think about the reciprocity, but with the trees, with the nature around us. Can you share a little bit about the science behind it?
Sure. Yeah. So this, the research started in Japan in the 1980s. So it was during that very, that big tech boom, and people were noticing that increase of illness, of cancer and other autoimmune disorders. That's when, the government was like, we need to see what happens when we take people out of these busy urban environments and bring them into the forest. What happens? And they found some really interesting things, right? One of which is the reduction of a certain white blood cell, call it NK cell, which is a natural killer cell, is increased when we breathe in these chemicals that I was talking about. They are called phytoncides. So when we breathe those in, we're actually supporting our immune system and fighting off disease. So you can imagine if they see that after just a couple times out in the forest, like if we did this as a regular practice, what that can mean. There's also been many, many other studies over the years by different researchers that show increase in our not just our immunity, our sleep, our decrease in cortisol, so our stress, depression, all of that is decreased. So many things improve. And I'm thinking about senior living, like the sleep, like the blood sugar, the decrease in blood sugar. Like, why are we not offering more options to reconnect with the land, right? But here's the thing. In forest therapy, which is kind of based in forest bathing, so by the way, I should back up. So forest bathing is, the Japanese term is called Shinrin-yoku. Forest therapy, which is what I'm trained in, is based in forest bathing. So in any case, what was I saying about the forest therapy? Now I lost my train of thought.
Why don't we offer more of it in senior living?
Yeah. So the thing is, we're not actually trying to change people's course. It's like we guide them, right? We let them come to the conclusion that they're going to come to. And it's also, we're not just constantly taking from nature. That's really important. I think that was my point, is we're not trying to just take from nature, we're partnering with nature. So it's not just another resource for human consumption, right? It's like, how can we take care of the land? The land cares for us, and then we care for the land. So by bringing people together, like for instance, residents living in senior living can partner with the land, and the land will then nourish them, and then they're tending to the land. So it's like this kind of reciprocal, beautiful relationship, right? So it's not just get out of it.
And for senior living, sometimes they're not located in a place that is near a lot of nature. So that could be one contributing factor. So what do you do in that scenario?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the other thing. You don't have to have a forest. So maybe you have a balcony, right? I go to a place that just has a balcony because they're in the city, and that's okay. So they're outside, they're getting the vitamin D from the sun, right? They're getting air. And even it's been shown in research to even have a window view of nature has been proven to speed up healing time, less medication use, being discharged earlier. So, versus like an urban view or a brick wall, right? So just even viewing it, having some fresh plants can help reduce, some of the anxiety that we're having in our workspace, for example. I'm looking here because I have plants all around me. So
no surprise.
Yeah, you don't have to have a forest, right? Because a lot of people don't. And so one of the things that I do when I go into long-term care is we sit outside. We're not going anywhere. We're just sitting outside and we're noticing. We're present in our bodies, and I guide them through all of their senses, right? Including our imaginal sense, because that's one of those, right? Our heart sense. And so we do it right where we are, sitting in our chairs.
That's perfect. And so let's use that as a tie into Art Against Ageism. And I imagine sometimes even when you're outside, that's a good time to do some art therapy. Doesn't have to be outside, lots of inside work, but tell us about Art Against Ageism and how that plays into senior living and dementia care.
Me?
Yes. Sorry, Meg. Yes.
Okay. So, so Art Against Ageism, we feel like ageism, of course, ageism is everywhere, right? And it's really important, we think, and because I having worked in senior living for a long time, and then starting Art Against Ageism just a year and a half ago, I did so because I recognized the rampant ageism. It's not just, and I'm not trying to call people out as being ageist. I just think that we're all naturally, we're born and bred to be ageist. Honestly, it's inculcated in us from day one to internalize it. And I think that probably those of us who are older have more of it. We've just accumulated more of it. And so if you think about a senior living community, you've got multi-generational people, and senior living in many ways, and sometimes in and of itself, can be sort of an ageist setup because we're put away in this, nursing, especially institutional design nursing homes. In my opinion, it's an ageist design to put people away out of sight, out of view, out of mind of the rest of the community or society. So our work is around really just making the invisible visible in many ways, and doing that in creative and very expressive and creative and artful ways. And I think there's so much that can be done inside with senior living communities, either with residents and people who work there, or even just also at a larger scale in terms of speaking to people in the senior living field about it. And I've done some of the, and I've done a lot of speaking about it. And we've also done we did an installment. The first thing that we did was an installment in a nursing home. We created this, what we call an Aging is Living tree. And it was just an interactive art installation in which we asked people to pick up a tag that was near the tree. And on the tag was a prompt or a question. And we asked people to respond to it on the other side, write on it, and then hang it on the tree. And it was just a way to get people to be thinking about aging and their own age and ageism, and then and then have people sort of maybe look at the display and ask questions about it. And it really did do that. It did that with the people who worked there. And so, and the way that it's connected, I think, with, and also by the way, we're doing work around and utilizing this sort of art and this art in this way to advance positive age beliefs. And we know that by advancing positive age beliefs, you improve people's lives, you improve health outcomes, and people who hold positive age beliefs on average live on average, we know this 7.5 years longer. This is research. And so Michelle and I are doing the work that we're doing together is actually, we're going to go into a conference at the end of this month, and she's going to create this beautiful sculpture, and it's in all around this prompt that we've been distributing at least on social media, and asking people to think about their age and what they've learned in their years on this planet. So I hope that helped answer. Did that?
Oh, Meg, it's so much information. I want to actually go back and have you say again what you said about the 7.5 years.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So we get it so there's a book out that was written last year, or published last year, by Becca Levy, who is called Breaking the Age Code. She is a professor at Yale University, and she found this longitudinal research, in which they examined people's age beliefs, both positive age beliefs and negative age beliefs. And they discovered that people who held positive age beliefs, felt positive about being older, about where they were in life, about growing older, actually lived an average of 7.5 years longer.
That is unbelievable. It really is, that you can have that shift in your mindset and expand your longevity.
Yeah, it
unbelievable.
is. And
wow.
In my mind, it makes so much sense for this field, for the people who work in Ageland, as I like to call it.
Ageland, that's great.
It just makes so much sense, not just for the people who work in it, but to work on it with people who also receive our care, who live in our communities, who live in nursing homes, who live in assisted living, and that kind of thing.
So the event that you were referring to is on aging, correct, in Atlanta?
Yes, it's the American Society on Aging conference called On Aging. Yes.
And we should talk about the people that sponsored it too, because we have a couple really amazing sponsors that feel so strongly about eradicating ageism. So do you mind if Meg just gives them a shout out, because they're amazing?
Yeah, absolutely. We're so thankful to them. One is a company called Graysource. They're at graysource.com. They are all about diversity, equity, and inclusion at all levels of recruiting. And so what they do is they produce employment matchmaking strategies that they say honor and promote multi-generational talent. So they're very much about promoting employment for older and younger workers of all ages.
And that is the essence of the senior care continuum, is people from all kinds of different backgrounds melded together, caring for our older adults, and our older adults are part of that as well. So great, big shout out. And I'm sorry, Graysource.
I'm sorry, Graysource. Graysource.
Okay. Yeah. Graysource. Shout out to Graysource.
You've got the U.
SOU. Yes, I did forget the U. Oh my gosh.
We need spell check in our speech, don't we? And which other ones?
Yeah, the Eden Alternative. I think all of us know the Eden Alternative. So we're very excited that they supported it. What I learned and didn't realize is that part of the Eden Alternative, when you become Eden certified and you go through their training, they have a whole section on ageism. So I didn't know that until Kathy Hagen told me that. So I was very excited to learn that. So
big shout out to Eden Alternative. Love them. Yes, that's great. Fantastic. Well, and Frances and I will be speaking at On Aging. So we will see you there. And that is not this Monday, but next Monday is when the conference starts.
Awesome.
Right. So in just a week, we'll be seeing you. And what will you be doing at the event? You have a table. Are you doing some activities?
We're doing a lot of activities.
You want to talk about it, Michelle? I'll let you talk. You go.
Yeah, well, so we have a few things happening. So one is those prompts that we've invited people to respond to. We have a booth, a Own Your Age booth. It's in the Shutterstock booth, and it's sponsored by Graysource and Eden. And people can come up, we have these prompts that they can hold up and share their age. And then when they share and tag on social, they can say what they've learned. So it's kind of like a selfie booth. Then we're going to have something, a projection actually there at the conference, also sponsored by Grace Source and Eden, as well as a sculpture, an art sculpture, which is going to take the numerous count. I don't even know how many we're up to now, but many responses of people from all ages who have replied to our prompt. So that's going to be turned into a sculpture. And I won't say what it is yet, because I'm excited. I'm so excited about it.
Me too.
Because it's a surprise. And then we can talk about it afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, we have come close to the end of our time. So Michelle, can you tell people how they can reach you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, I would love it. So you can reach out, evergreenminds.org. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can email me, which is also on my LinkedIn and on evergreenminds.org.
Great. And Meg, how can people reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. artagainstageism.org.
Fantastic. Thank you both for joining us today. And mostly thank you for the work that each of you do in this space. It's such important work, and we're honored to have you on the show and have you share this with our audience and with the world. So for everyone listening, thank you for joining our Bright Spot series today with Michelle and Meg, and we look forward to next time. In the meantime, go out and pay it forward and share with us what you learned from this podcast or what you would like to hear from our podcasts. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.